Well, all right, y'all. All across the USC, Compton, Watts, Bay to LA, Pomona, California, from valley to valley, we represent that killer Cali. So if you keeping it real on your side of your town, you tune in to Gangsta Chronicles.
Gangsta Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes.
If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Gangsta Chronicles, this is not your average show.
You're now tuned into the real MC8, Big James, and Big Steel.
This is strictly from the streets.
Hello.
We represent the James.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Gangsta Chronicles. Make sure you hit that iHeart button, subscribe, like, rate, and comment. For my iPhone users, make sure you go to that purple button on your phone. That's the Apple Podcast button. Subscribe to the show, leave a comment so we can keep bringing you this wonderful content. You know, despite weed being illegal under federal law as a Schedule I drug, the U.S. legal marijuana industry was estimated at $13.6 billion in 2019, creating 340,000 jobs devoted to the handling of marijuana. According to the New Frontier data, a total of 38 states and the District of Columbia have legalized marijuana for medical use, 15 of which allow adults to legally consume the drug for recreational use as of 2020. One of those people that have pioneered the business is our guest tonight, Virgil Grant. But first, I want to introduce my homeboys.
Big J.
Gia. You know, man, and this is crazy. In 2004, Virgil opened the first cannabis shop south of the 10 freeway in L.A. And later, he opened several more shops. Successful businessman and everything, doing everything proper. But his business became the target of federal, you know, the whole conflict between the federal and state law. Right. So while they legalized this stuff, the federal government is saying that it's legal. Anyway, his shops kept getting cracked and shut down and everything. And then he was incarcerated for 6 years, and he was released in 2014. And we have him here today with us inside his wonderful establishment. Thank you for having us over.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for having us over, man. So we have a situation that you was doing everything the right way, had all your paperwork, permits in order, wasn't doing no monkey business, but they kept raiding the shops.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, you know, that's they did. You know, the story that I really tell is that prior to my raids, they did about 8 to 11 raids in West Hollywood and Hollywood. Right before my raids, we talking probably less than 30 days before I got raided. Nobody went to jail, everybody reopened. They raided me 30 days later, and guess what?
You went to jail.
Whoa. So it's go ahead, James.
What was the difference? I mean, you had license for this shit.
I'm black, they white. Okay. I mean, that was really the difference because they operated under the same color of the law that I operated under. And with the same guidelines I was operating under. So there was no difference. Matter of fact, they were a little bit wilder than me.
Do you attest that to them knowing that you were in the weed game before, or you know, because of the street ties or whatever, or because of the color of the skin? What do you feel?
I would say more the color of the skin because I wasn't on the radar with my street ties. I always stayed off the radar. I mean, yes, I had 2 prior state convictions of cannabis prior to that I did state time in before the Fed time, but that wasn't on the radar. I wasn't on the radar as active street sales.
Right. So they had to get you. They had to prove a point.
I mean, you know, I don't know if it was a point to prove or if it was just we got to take another brother down. Now, you got to keep in mind, I had 6 locations at this time. So I'm moving stronger than anybody in the industry, stretching from Compton to the Valley.
Okay.
So, you know, all of that played a factor.
Yeah.
The fact that when the feds investigated me, and I knew they was investigating me, they was following me around, I seen them. Sitting on Long Beach Boulevard at the Rite Aid, you know, they had their video cameras out, and, you know, I could see them. I just continued to operate everything, you know, right. I didn't, you know, cut no corners. I didn't do no backdoor deals or nothing like that. but they still came at me.
So what did they get you on?
So they charged me with 41 counts. Conspiracy to distribute 100 kilograms or more of marijuana THC product, promotional money laundering, and money laundering. So when it was all said and done, then what they did is they grabbed my wife, right? So this was the kicker. She she worked for AAA. Okay. She never even worked at the stores, even been in the stores, running the stores like that, but they pulled her in to get me to go on and take a deal because they knew I was getting ready to fight them all the way. And I had the support of the industry, and they knew that. And the industry didn't look like me. So I had the support of a bunch of white people that was backing me up. When we were doing a rally in front of the federal building, they, and one of the feds told me, he said, I seen you out there in your suit in front of the federal building rallying with your activists, cannabis activists, so they knew already what I was about politically, in the industry and as an owner operator. You see what I'm saying? So, they
was watching you basically.
Yeah, absolutely. But shoot, they only stayed on me because it was simple. They only stayed on me 47 days. Like their investigation was literally 47 days, which means you didn't have nothing to investigate. You see me go to Crenshaw, you see me go to my Compton store, you see me go to my Gardena store, you see me go to my downtown store, and you see me take my kids to school in the morning, right? So this is all, they seeing what I'm doing, that I'm not, meeting somebody in a back alley or nothing like that.
You're not doing the under the table
deals. When they arrested me, when they actually picked me up, I had my 5 daughters in the car taking them to school. And they pulled me over.
Wow.
They had a Carson sheriff. I was in Carson. They had a Carson sheriff pull me over. And then he said, I can't tell you much. But I already knew what the deal was. Right. I already knew. When they pulled me over and there was no traffic stop or no reason to pull me over, it just hit me. Oh, they here for me. This what this is about, right? So then they he cuffed me, put me in the back seat of the car, took me from my kids, and I'm sure they had got on their cell phone, started calling up their auntie, their grandmama, and so on and so forth, and handed me off to the feds, and they, traded cuffs on me, and then put me in the car with the leading agent, because he wanted to be the one to bring me in, which name was Patrick Kelly. So, he's
white dude.
Yeah, he's advanced his career like he was doing for the president. He was bodyguarding for the president and stuff like that, Secret Service. So his career, a lot of people from the judge, his career catapulted from this. Chris Louis, and I remember all these cats by first and last name from my case.
Yeah, I guess you do.
He became a judge. The AUSA became a judge. And then, just everybody that was involved in that case was able to, from what they did in LA.
Career.
Yeah.
So they just made this out of a big ass situation, more than what it was.
More than what it was.
You was licensed. You was doing everything legit. You didn't have no problem, no hanging out, no bullshit at your shops.
None of that. You wouldn't even know I was there if you didn't know I was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knew that there was the only dispensary in Compton, first of all. It was the only dispensary south of the 10 freeway. So Long Beach hadn't opened up, Southgate, Bell, or Maywood, none of those even existed. We talking 2004.
Right.
So we talking when there were very few shops even in the industry. Exactly. And I was one of the first.
Well, I know you spoke upon your prior arrest before that, but you being a legal business owner, that should have negated all that other stuff. How did they think they had the right, like out of all these people that they previously popped, no one went to jail, but you went to jail. Do you think it possibly had been some kind of collusion between them and some of the white shops, maybe somebody that was jealous of your success possibly turning you in?
I can say that when I went to court, that judge was hell-bent on me going to jail, period. because the questions he asked and the answers he got. So let me explain this. When I went to jail the first time, they arrested me and my wife. Because she had no criminal history, she got out on a signature bond. I had to bail out, $250,000 bail, so I bailed out. Took me 30 days because they have to appraise your house. They got to make sure the money is clean money,
right,
and so on and so forth. So I bailed out 30 days later and was on pretrial. And so as I was on pretrial, I was still circulating through my shops. My shops were back open, up and running, and I'm circulating through my shops. So they come and catch me at my Gardena store, right? I'm opening up, going into my Gardena store, and then next thing you know, I hear something banging on the door. I'm thinking one of the customers. I look up at my video camera, and I see them in riot gear. And I look at the back door, right? Because I'm like, I can hit this back door. You know, I've been running track all my life. I was Linwood's #1 quarter miler and hurdler. You feel me? So I was like, okay, it's still on. You know, hey man, I done ran before, so I'm not tripping, right? So I said, this the feds. They know. They done been everywhere. They done been in my house. They know who I am, know where I'm at. All right, let me just go on and see what this is about. So I open up the door. They get me on the ground. The leading agent, Chris Louis, again. It's our second time meeting each other once again. The first time when he cuffed me, the second time when he recuffed me, right? So he looked down, he say, Virgil, and then I turn up and look at him. He say, yeah, get him up off the floor, get inside, and close the store up. So he wanted everybody inside like nothing ever happened. And pulled me inside, and then they begin to take all the product out the store. Long story short, when I go to in front of the judge say, was there anything in his pretrial conditions saying that his stores couldn't be open while he's on pretrial? I said, no, Your Honor. So was there anything in his pretrial conditions saying he couldn't be at his stores while on pretrial? No, Your Honor. So I'm thinking, shit.
You good?
I'm good. I'm about to get out. Man, they kept my ass locked up. I didn't, no matter what. The judge even asked a question to my attorney, was he licensed in every one of his locations? And my attorney was like, yes, here are his licenses right here. I'm thinking, oh, this is it right here. All right, the judge understand. Shit. They took my ass back in that cell when it was all said and done and fought it from the inside.
Oh, man.
They wanted you bad.
Yeah.
It was obvious.
Yeah.
You know, because after all of that, it was still, and then Obama put out the Cole memo. The Cole memo, this was I'm still in under the Obama administration, but he bring the Cole memo out. Judge wasn't trying to hear none of that. I couldn't say medical. I couldn't say patients. I could not use that language or terminology in federal court. Why? Because it is a Schedule I drug. They don't give a damn about medical marijuana.
That's fucked up.
And could you explain to the people out there that may not be familiar with the schedules, like what a Schedule I drug is exactly?
So let me just be clear about this.
Right.
Marijuana is a Schedule I drug.
Right.
Cocaine, methamphetamine,
Schedule
and
II.
everything else is Schedule II. Why so?
I've always been curious about
Why
that.
so? Because they want to keep it where they want to keep it, the government. When you say that marijuana is the most dangerous drug ever, I mean, how so? Because they can't control it the way they truly want to control it. So understanding that, they got to put it in a category that they can control it in and make it a Schedule I drug. Now they have control of it because they can put you in jail if they don't want you dealing it, selling it, growing it, or using it. You see what I'm saying? So that's how they are controlling it, but we don't really deep dive into that. So this is how they keep control of everything that we do. They make a law that say you can't do it. Now they control it.